seek help. And that's one of the biggest things that turn people away from mental health is they don't get help.
Welcome to Mental Game Changers, the podcast where we dive deep into the minds of athletes who are redefining strength beyond the scoreboard. I'm your host, Tre Sangiacomo, and in each episode, we will explore the often unspoken challenges surrounding mental health in sports. From the pressures of competing to the triumphs of overcoming personal battles, we'll hear inspiring stories and gain insights from athletes who are not just champions in the field, but also advocates for mental wellness. Join us as we break down barriers, shatter stigmas, and empower each other to prioritize mental health on and off the field. Whether you're an athlete, a coach, or just someone passionate about sports, this podcast is for you. Let's change the game together. Hello. So today I am joined with Tanner Bradshaw. Tanner, if you don't mind, for those who may not know you, would you mind just introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm Tanner. I am a baseball player here at HLG, and Trey is one of my teammates, so that's how he found me. And I am from the Springfield, Missouri area.
What year are you?
I'm a senior this year.
Perfect. All right, so you've been, how many years have you been here at HLG?
This is my third year.
Perfect. What does a normal day look like for you between balancing school, sports, and trying to have a social life?
Usually I wake up and I go straight to class. I spend a couple hours in the classroom each day. I go and grab something to eat, usually after class. That's when lunch is usually when my classes end. And then most of the time I just kind of chill a little bit after lunch for about an hour, and then I go and do my baseball stuff. So I'll go lift, I'll go hit, I'll do all that kind of stuff before we go and do practices and stuff like that.
Perfect. How does things like pressure, whether that comes from you or it comes from coaches, how does stuff like that affect your mental process, especially with baseball being such a failure sport? You're going to fail.
So I think that failure is something that obviously is a big part of our sport, and I think it can put a lot of unwanted pressure on kids, especially younger guys who understand that if I don't do this, then I might not get to play a lot. So I think for the younger guys, it kind of messes with their mentality a lot, and it puts a lot of unwanted pressure on to succeed. And I think that over time it wears on them, that it kind of takes away the fun part of the game. I'm out here just to play this game because it's fun. And I think they lose sight of that a lot.
Did you ever find yourself in those thought loops of it just gets to a point where you're just kind of going through the motions and it's you feel like you're just showing up?
Yeah, I would say that is a constant thing with every athlete. I think burnout is kind of a big issue in today's society, and I think there's always going to be ups and downs through every season. So I would say it's pretty common for people to go through spurts where it's really hard for them to show up at practices and sometimes even games.
Yeah, 100%. How do you personally deal with when you're struggling with burnout in the past?
So I think you kind of have to take a look at what you're doing outside of practice and stuff like that. So if you are spending all of your free time in the gym or at the field trying to get better and just grinding away, then I think the best part for you to get over burnout is to take a little bit away from that time and kind of listen to your body and understand that, hey, I'm really struggling, and sometimes these reps are more worse than they are for good. So I think, well, baseball is a huge mental sport. And
100%.
so if your mind's not right, then it doesn't matter how prepared you are.
Who do you tend to lean on when things get tough, especially when it comes to maybe not even just baseball, but when it comes to just mental health in general? Like who are your people that you try to lean on?
I would say my parents, for sure. Definitely my mother. Um, and then when I'm struggling a lot, baseball wise, it'd be my dad.
Did your dad play baseball growing up? So is that kind of like the reason why you go to him more, like for baseball wise? Like, or like what's the reasoning for, if you don't mind, like what's the reasoning between the separation of like, okay, like if I'm struggling baseball wise, I'm going to go to dad. But like if I'm struggling, like I need someone to talk to, like I'm going to go to mom. Like what's the reasoning behind those?
I think it's because my dad, he just understands me more about the sports aspect because he grew up playing sports.
Okay.
And then when it comes to my mom, um, I would say I was closer growing up with my mother than I was with my dad because he was working a lot.
Okay. So you were around your mom more and it was like it is kind of like a okay, like you just kind of get closer
Yes.
with them as you're
And I would say that kind of happened with me in my childhood. Obviously, as I grew older, me and my dad got a lot closer
that's
too.
good. Yeah. I know it was the same way. Like I got a lot closer with my dad as I started getting older. Like I think around like probably like 11, 12 years old was really when I started getting like really closer to my dad. And then by the time I was like my late teens, I was really close with my dad. Like if anything happened, whether it was baseball, school, or like anything, I was like, I need to call my dad. Even literally just yesterday, I was just heated about something, and I was like, I need to call my dad. And it's like it's not always a bad thing, but it's like sometimes it's just I feel like there's some things that you can like talk about with one parent that you not necessarily can't talk about with another parent. Like I'm sure if you needed to, you could go to your mom and talk to your mom about baseball
Yeah.
or like if you're struggling like athletically, but like she may not have the same like perspective as your dad would, like because like you said your dad grew up playing sports. Like my dad grew up coaching me for a good chunk of like my playing career up until probably until I was probably like 16. So like I don't know, I get that though. Let's see, how do things like injuries or other personal setbacks, how does that affect like your mental health, and how do you kind of try to navigate through things like injuries?
So injuries have been heavily present in my college career.
Yeah.
I've been injured at least once every fall and spring season since I've started playing. So I would say now it doesn't affect my mental health as much as it did when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And um, coming into college and not really having a lot of setbacks in high school
Yeah.
and before that, and then trying to get to college, improve myself to other coaches, and to gain playing time.
Yeah.
And so getting injured also puts a damper on that. Like you can't,
Yeah.
you can't. And then the other side of it is, well, I should just go out there and play anyways.
Yeah.
So coaches see that I'm mentally tough, and
Yeah.
that most coaches will see that and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's awesome, but um, it takes a lot out, especially not on yourself, but on the team as well, because there might be days where you can fully participate,
Mm-hmm.
and then like another day where you just re-injure yourself.
Yeah,
And
where
then
like
you're
you just
back
you
to the
can't
drawing
do
board.
anything, and then yeah, like you said, that's a perfect example. Like back to the drawing board. How do you handle things like not getting any playing time? Because I know, like that's another big thing, especially in athletes, is like not getting playing time. Like it can kind of, I know, especially like when I was younger, and even my first 2 years of college, like it got like pretty bad for me, where I just kind of like I felt like I just didn't belong because it's like you're trying and you're busting your butt and you're doing everything that your coach is telling you to do, and you're getting there early for practices, you're staying late after practices, and you're doing like everything that you physically can, and you're not getting the results. Like I know mentally that can really take a toll. And I know like I have a problem with like I will like hyper focus on something. So like if I have like a couple of like negative thoughts come in, it's almost like my brain can do nothing but just focus on those negative thoughts. So there's like things that I try to do, like obviously like I'll call my dad, or like I kind of like I won't I won't like step away from baseball, because obviously like I love the game too much to like just fully stop, but like I'll have to like take a step back and be like, okay, like we need to take a breather. We need to talk to people. We need to talk to someone outside of baseball almost, to just kind of like refocus myself and like refocus my thoughts. Have you struggled with anything of those kind of natures?
Yes. So, um, I think that is like a great topic for you to bring up, because kids put all of their basket, like their eggs
One basket.
into one
Yeah.
basket, and that being sports. And so when you don't get the results that you wish to have, it really just kind of demoralizes you. It crushes you.
It does. Yeah.
And so one thing that I have learned is that every person on the team has a role, regardless of it being starter, second string, maybe you're the bullpen catcher. And in college, like a bullpen catcher is just as important as the guy that goes out there and catches every game.
Yeah. 100%.
Um, or even if you're a pitcher who only comes in one inning out of the weekend and you're just kind of a middle relief guy, like you have a role. And I think understanding your role and understanding like what led you to that role kind of helps, maybe not mentally, but it helps you understand like where you are at as a player and like what you need to improve on.
Yeah. I know that kind of going to stay on the topic of like putting all your eggs in one basket. I know like with me that kind of caused a good fair bit of like anxiety, because college is a completely different, college sports is a completely different than high school sports or even travel sports. Like it doesn't matter if you were like, realistically it doesn't matter if you were like the best player on your high school team, because chances are almost everybody that you're playing college sports with were the best, if not one of the better players on their high school team. Almost 9 times out of 10 it's going to be like that. So like you're going from like a big fish in a small pond to like a minnow in like the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Like it can be a real like game changer. I said it. Um it can like, but it can really like open up your eyes in being like, wow, like maybe like I'm not as good as I think I am. And I know that can cause a lot of like, that can really like crush some people. And I know that can drive people away from wanting to play in general. Like I remember my freshman year of college, we had a kid come in. I think he was a sophomore. I think he was a transfer from somewhere. He was going to be a middle infielder. And I think after like the first like 2 weeks, he like wasn't getting like any reps at all, or like was getting like very minimal, and like completely had like a mental breakdown and like dropped out of school. And it's like I'm not obviously not judging him for it, because as a person who has had my fair share of like mental breakdowns and panic attacks and whatever else you want to call it, like I completely understand it. Like it can be scary at times. So like do you ever deal with stuff like that, like kind of getting to a point where it's like you're not succeeding or not at a level that you want to be at, and you're kind of almost driving yourself, not crazy, but like driving yourself to have like maybe like panic attacks, or like you're like anxious like every time you even get a rep, because you're like, I need to make this perfect. Like, do you
Yes.
ever struggle with like the perfection, and what are some things that you do to kind of like help get yourself through those episodes?
So with those episodes, obviously understanding that that is happening is a big step. realizing that this isn't normal. Um, I need to kind of take a step back from uh, sports and kind of life at that point, and you just
Yeah.
kind of have to assess like it's affecting my sleep, it's affecting me eating, it's affecting me getting my schoolwork done,
Yeah.
um, and realizing that that isn't healthy. And
100%. Especially as an athlete. Like obviously as like an everyday person, if you're having anxiety attacks and panic attacks to the point where like you're not eating and like not sleeping, like obviously that's not healthy.
yeah,
But like especially as athletes, like we need sleep. We
we
need to
do.
be able to recover. We need to be able to eat to, keep our strength up or get stronger depending on what your like season goals may be, or like if you're in the off season, then obviously you may be looking to get stronger, or if you're in season, you may be looking to just maintain that weight and like that strength that you're currently at. And like when you're not sleeping and when you're not eating, that can really like it can start to like impact not only like your performance on the field, but like just an everyday performance.
Yes. Um, and then like another part of that is maybe there's some things outside of baseball that are kind of adding to it as well. Maybe it doesn't just stem from baseball,
Yeah.
but it might also stem from baseball or other sport. So it might be a person in your life. If you are romantically involved, that might be
Yeah.
another.
Relationship stresses, whether it's, you're like you're married or you're dating someone or you're engaged or maybe you just had a breakup. Like all of those things can really, like you said, like those can add to it. And especially when you put, like when you were saying earlier, you put all your eggs into one basket, which may be your sport, and then you use your sport as like an escape, and then something happens outside of your sport, so you're like, okay, you know what, like I'm gonna go hit, like I'm stressed out, I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna go hit, and then you have a bad day in the cages, and it's what is going on, like I can't do anything right, and that just those can that becomes a very big like slippery slope. I know, especially like with me, obviously not now because I don't hit anymore, but even like throwing bullpens. Like if I come in and I'm like, all right, like I'm just having a bad day, but you know what? It's fine. I'm throwing a bullpen today. Like I can get some anger out, maybe let a couple rip a little harder than I normally throw.
Yeah.
And then it's like you end up throwing you end up like pooping your pants in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like what's going on? Like it can be a really bad, like slippery slope. What message would you give to younger athletes right now who may be struggling with mental health?
Seek help.
Yeah.
So if you are struggling, seek help. And that's one of the biggest things that turn people away from mental health is they don't get help.
Yeah.
Or they say that it's completely fine.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah.
It's perfectly okay to need help with things.
Yeah. One thing I like to tell myself is like it's okay to not be okay. And like I've seen that plastered on
Exactly,
TV,
yeah.
on like t-shirts, social media posts, like everything, but like it really is true. Like it is okay to not be okay. Everybody has bad days and like we are human.
Oh yeah. It's hard because people are like, I'll be a burden to other people.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
That's the thing that I know a lot of people struggle with, especially like not that there's like the stigma around it, but I feel like especially as males, it's like we kind of get into the mindset of like, oh, just man up, like I'll be fine.
We have to be a leader. We need to be strong for our families and all that. But you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, you don't have to go through your fight alone. And I feel like taking that step and finding someone, whether it's a coach or a teammate or a parent or like a professor that you trust, or even seeking professional help. Like I know I see a therapist once every couple weeks, probably like 2-3 times a month. I'll go and I'll have a video call with my therapist from back home. And it's like, I may not be struggling every single day, but still having that person to like talk to and like know that like if something is wrong, like I know if there's anyone who will be like, it's okay, like you can talk. Like I know at least I have one person, you know?
Yeah.
And even, you know, even days where like I don't have therapy for like, let's say I don't have therapy for like 2 weeks and then, you know, something happens. I know another thing is like, I feel like especially from athletes here at our school specifically, given our background, is like praying and talking to God. I know my faith has grown. Like it has been a complete like a 180 flip in my faith from when I first got here to now. Cause like I considered myself a Christian when I got here, but I think being around a lot of people who are very heavy in their faith and doing things like going to chapel every week, that has strengthened
Yes.
my belief and like my faith a lot more, to where it's like I'll be like, all right, you know what, having a bad day, I don't have therapy, like I just need to like talk to someone, and I'll just like pray, I'll just talk to God.
And I think that hearing those people talk about their struggles too kind of helps ease some of
Yeah.
the tension of, oh,
Like,
I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I'm not alone. Like,
or anyone else for that matter can get through like their struggles. Like if you can get through whatever it is that you're going through, or someone can like get through what they're going through, and like you hear them talk about what they're going through. And that's like why I wanted to like do the topic that I am doing, is like I felt, and it's exactly what I told Mrs. Jung when I told her that this is the topic I wanted to do, was like I feel like if people hear like some of our athletes' stories and like understand that like, you know, they may also struggle with mental health, if people hear it, then they're going to be just like maybe a little bit more likely to be like, okay, like I need to talk to someone, like what's going on, like what I'm dealing with is not normal, is not okay, like I should get help.
yeah. And so I'm going to get a little deep here. I recently lost my grandfather to suicide about 3 months ago. And he was a Christ-like figure. He was a pastor. He was honestly one of the men in my life that I really looked up to. And so it kind of sucks not having him here in my life, obviously.
Yeah.
And the one thing that my family has struggled with throughout this entire process is I had no idea.
Yeah.
And you don't know
Oftentimes that is the case.
what
It's
somebody
like,
is thinking
Yeah.
in their head. Like looking at my grandfather and interacting with him at like a family function, you would have no idea that, you know, when he's home by himself, his thoughts are dark, and that it's not a place that, you know, family members want to think about.
Yeah. Especially I'm sorry for your loss. That like it does kind of like it sucks when you, especially when you lose someone like that who like is a big role model in your life. But yeah, like it's so true. Like you have no idea what people are going through, which is why like I try to be open like about my mental health. Like if I'm struggling, it's like, okay, yeah, like I'll straight up tell people. Like, so I remember Levi was like the first person to come up to me when I was like literally dying after that first mile, and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm just having a panic attack. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay."
Yeah.
Like I'll be the first person to like straight up tell someone like, "Yeah, like I'm just having a panic attack," or like I'm just having an anxiety attack, because it's like if I can be open about it, then it all just kind of, I feel like I just hope that it just like trickles down, and then it leads to someone else. Like if
Yeah.
someone else is struggling, like
Maybe
a couple days later,
maybe
then
our kids will be more open about
Exactly.
it. Exactly.
especially being like a male figure, like I want to be able, like I want to try and be someone that like people, even if it's underclassmen, that like they can like look up to. Like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna strut around like I'm, you know, the biggest and strongest guy on campus, because you know, standing at 5'8", 160 pounds, soaking wet, definitely not the biggest guy on campus.
Soaking wet.
But like if I can be someone that is open and someone that people can trust to go to if they are struggling, I would much rather take that a million times over than being the biggest and strongest dude on like a team or on campus.
Yeah.
You have anything else that you'd like to add, like to talk about?
So athletes, get help. Find somebody that you can talk to. Take breaks. Go hang out with friends. And at the end of the day, when you're laying in your bed, take a look at yourself. Make sure that everything is okay. Don't lie to yourself and say that I'm doing things that I wouldn't normally do because I'm struggling. If you're going out and you're staying out super late, doing things you wouldn't normally do, and you get back to your dorm and you feel unsatisfied with what you just did, or if you feel lost, make sure that you acknowledge that, because that might be the early signs of going into a darker place.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Mental Game Changers. We hope that you learned about the off-field battles athletes face and the significance of mental health. Remember, it's completely okay to ask for help, whether you're an athlete or anyone else. You're not alone in your struggles, and reaching out can make all the difference. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and share with others who might need to hear this message. Let's continue to break the stigma around mental health together. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep pushing forward.